Well.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the virtual residency fair. I'm Teresa Bird. I'm the residency program director at Wellstar Kennestone in Marietta, Georgia, right outside of Atlanta. And forgive me because I'm having to man the waiting room too. So I'm looking at two different screens here. So if I'm not looking directly at the camera, just forgive me. So I'm glad we have this opportunity to showcase our program to you guys. I'm going to ask everybody to come off of to turn on their cameras and just put your computer on mute for right now. That way we can see you. We also have the residents. Some of the residents are joining. So I know some of them are at work or on call, but hopefully we'll have enough of them so that you guys can get a good feel for our program. So I'm going to start on time too, just because this is recorded and a lot of people are joining to look at different programs during the same time. So they will be able to come back and take a look at the recording a little bit later and still get information about the program. So as people join, feel free to ask questions. I'm very informal, so if you have a question, if you want to just raise your hand, you can, but what you have questions about will probably be answered. So So I'll just give like a brief overview, and then I have some questions for some of the residents, and we'll have questions for you guys to answer as well, the residents. And I'm gonna ask, let me see who of my residents are here. I see Dr. Jones, I see Dr. Salcedo, Dr. Shep Riley, Dr. Vale. I'm going to ask a couple of you guys to just, the residents to man the chat, Dr. Hagens, and if you guys see any questions that come up, you guys can kind of interject and ask those questions for me so that the students who are on here get their questions answered. So if you guys will just man the chat for me and make sure we get those questions answered, that'll be great. Dr. Isabor, okay, great. Oh, everybody's trying to log on, it's great. All right, so as I said before, we are Wellstar Kennestone program right outside of Atlanta, Georgia in Marietta. And let me just get my slides to move. So I'm the program director. I've been there for about 2 years. We are a fairly new program. So we just graduated our second group of chief residents this past year. A little bit about our program, just overview, of course, like all OB-GYN residency programs here in the US, they're 4 years. We have 4 residents per year. We are a community-based program, but even though we're community-based, we have other GME programs there at our hospital. So at the same time that our program got started, we also started an internal medicine, Wellstar started an internal medicine residency program that has, at this point, I think they have 16 residents per year. So upwards of about 48, I think they have 48 residents total, or they will this incoming year. We also have an emergency medicine program that has, forgive me, I think it's 15 residents per year. So they also will have about 40 something residents total. We have a family medicine resident program that is 7 residents per year. And then we have transitional year, you know, it's just a 1 year for people who are going on to different specialties, but there are 20 transitional residents. And then we have a palliative care fellowship as well. So we have fellows for palliative care. So, you know, we have a large number of residents in our facility, in our hospital. So it's great to have that. It's turned kind of into a small academic center, but still has a very community-based feel because of the hospital. But that's just an overview of Wellstar Kennestone, just to kind of give you a lay of the land of what kind of practice the residents are practicing in. We have pretty good salary and benefits competitive to other programs across the country. I will say that Wellstar, the good thing about being a part of Wellstar is they benefit from all the other things that you get from being a Wellstar employee. So there are lots of other things that the residents get, but we have a number of different benefits, like educational funds. The residents get meals. They have a meal plan that is paid for it and it's housed on their badge, but a number of different things. The residents have their own continuity clinic. It's right across the street. It's a newly renovated clinic, and they see their own patients there. We are starting to do some in-office procedures like LEAPs and hysteroscopies, but the residents have a large number of mainly Medicaid patients, and we also take care of patients that are completely unfunded and have no insurance. So we're able to take care of a lot of different patients, no matter what their background or socioeconomic status. We also have robotic surgery certification. So that's one of the big pluses, I think, from this program, is that we have, hold on, let me let some people in from the waiting room. Okay. So our residents are completely trained in robotic surgery and get to do a lot of really complex GYN surgery with our GYN oncologists that we have here. So residents come out completely robot certified. They also get their FLS certification, the fundamentals of laparoscopic surgery, and then there is a research requirement for our program. Dr. Estrella, he's our associate program director. He's not here today because he's out of town, but he's been with the program since the very beginning and is really over FLS and robotics and research. We have a small number of core faculty, but the residents do a lot of their surgery with other private attendings and some of the subspecialists. So these are our core faculty here, aside from myself and Dr. Estrella, Dr. Deborah Taylor, Dr. Marcia Little, and Dr. Carl Steineken. We also have, as a part of our core, we have night hospitalists that the residents also work with. So Dr. Woods, Dr. Paul, Dr. Chiera, they cover nights and weekends, and our nights and weekends here are pretty busy, as babies like to be born at night, but there's a lot of surgery that still goes on with ectopics and otherwise at night. We have a large group that the residents participate fully with. So this is a group of 6 attendings. They're also, their practice has, I think, 7 or 8 midwives, and the residents do deliveries, surgeries, C-sections, everything with this group as well. So they care for their patients just like they care for their own. And there is another group of midwives that and attendings that the residents work with as well, that they do OB deliveries with. And so that's the Ken OB group. So our residents do work with a number of different midwives, which I think is a plus as well. Okay. This is Dr. Carlos Alarcon. He is one of a private attending, so he's in a private group, but he's a generalist. He does a good bit of the robotic surgery with the residents, and he's also over the 3rd year medical student clerkship. We have students that rotate from MCG through our program. And then we have Dr. Daniel Eller. He's a maternal fetal medicine attending. He and his group work directly with our residents and our maternal fetal medicine service. So the residents rotate through their office, and also they cover the patients and the consults on the floor. And anytime there's a cerclage or intrauterine transfusion or something like that, they do those cases with Dr. Eller. These are the GYN oncologists that our residents work with. Dr. Amy Carroll and Dr. Brentley Smith, they're here at Wellstar Kennestone. The residents do a ton of robotic surgery, and I'm sure they'll attest to that when they come off their microphones and talk. And then they work directly with Dr. Evelyn Reynolds. She's at an outside Wellstar, so she's at North Fulton, which is, I think, and the residents will probably tell you, it's about, I think, 15, 20 minutes away from Kennestone, and they operate with Dr. Reynolds there at North Fulton and see patients in the office with her there as well. But this is where, with these attendings, the GYN oncologist is where the residents see most of the complex surgery and really hone their robotic skills. So some questions that I often get at these residency fairs are, do the residents have opportunities to present at regional or national meetings? And I'm going to answer these questions for you guys. And then I have some questions and I'll introduce you to the residents and let you guys kind of back and forth and ask questions of them as well. So, and then what kind of residents are we looking for, and how dedicated are the faculty to the success of the program. So that first question, do the residents get opportunities to present at national meetings? You know, right now, since COVID, it's been a little bit more difficult, but we have had virtual presentations of our residents. So Dr. McCarthy, he presented last year at APGO-CREOG virtually, of course. Dr. Uceda had a virtual presentation last year at a regional meeting, at a state meeting, and then has gotten her presentation accepted for this year as well. But I think this year will actually be in person if by then, you know, numbers are down and we are able to go. We do fully support residents being able to go. So if a resident has their research project accepted at a national or regional meeting, we will pay for them to fly, go, hotel, everything, and present. But this was Dr. Huffstetler, who's one of our chief residents now, Dr. Little, and Dr. Trivedi. She's not, Dr. Trivedi has moved to Chicago now, but this is a presentation at APGO-CREOG the first year that I came here. And we encourage our residents to apply for presentations at national meetings each year and really try to push them forward so they can, you know, highlight what research they're doing. This is Dr. Moore, who is one of our residents that has graduated, who presented at GOGS in Florida on her HPV and smoking project. This was legislative day that we have here in Georgia at the Capitol, where residents from all of the residency programs go, and attendings as well. They go to the Capitol and they talk to the legislature about different things, their policies they want pushed forward. So a lot of what has come out of legislative day is the expansion of Medicaid, the 6-month expansion, and now we're pushing towards the 1-year expansion postpartum. But a lot of these things come from or are supported by the legislative day that the residents participate in the state of Georgia. So then what kind of residents are we looking for? You'll see from talking to the residents on here, I'll let them tell you themselves, but we're really looking for residents who are interested in, first of all, becoming great generalists, so great OBGYNs, really interested in GYN surgery and complex OB patients, but really who want a family feel to their residency program. Because the program is smaller, you do get a lot more one-on-one with attendings. And I think that's a bonus. I've been a program director at a much larger program. I can tell you that it was rare that a resident would interact directly with an attending, or even in, you know, C-sections and deliveries and scrubbing. You didn't get that one-on-one, and I think that that's something that people don't, that people take for granted sometimes, but don't realize that that's an asset. And so I do think that you are able to get kind of a closer relationship with the attendings and more one-on-one in that respect, which is great. We are also looking, there is a physician shortage in Georgia, so not all of our residents have continued to practice here, but we encourage people that are coming to this program. We're really looking to serve the community at large in Georgia, and that's part of the reason this residency program was started. There is a physician shortage in Georgia, and we are one of the states with the highest maternal mortality. I don't like highlighting that, but starting this residency program was one way we were looking to target to reduce those numbers. So it's really important to us to produce residents that potentially will go out and serve the population here in Georgia and really help us to improve the healthcare to women here in the state. So like I said, not necessarily that all people have to stay, but it is something that we are hoping people will want to do after coming here and training here. So yeah, so these are some of our interns, and we did a recent simulation here, C-section simulation with Care Bears. And our faculty, how dedicated are the faculty to the success of the residents and the program? So besides myself, the core faculty that we have were initially a private group that was here at the hospital, who basically dissolved their practice in order to become GME physicians and train the residents. So they are truly dedicated to the program. They really want to see it succeed, and they have been on board with all the changes and things that have happened since its inception. And so because of that, they are really invested in what this program has become and what it will be in the future. And when I came on and asked them, like, what kind of program do you want to produce? What are you looking to do? What they said was, we want this program to be just as top notch as the other programs are looked at. So Emory, MCG, Morehouse, they wanted that same caliber of residents produced from those programs, the reputation that they have to be what Wellstar Kennestone is known for. And I can attest to the fact that we really are putting out a stellar resident, and you'll see that's obvious by the residents that we have here today. So Jarrell Marcus, she is, I don't know if she's on today, but she's our program manager. So she is the contact person for everything. So she is my right hand and sometimes my left. She does everything that I need. She's been in GME for a while. She came to us from Morehouse, but she has a lot of experience in this area, and she's really good at managing the things for the residency program that we need done. So we're indebted to her for that. She basically put these slides together for me as well. So then another thing that we have, all programs have protected didactics. And one of the things you always want to think about is whether or not the didactics prepare you ultimately for board certification, right? Because when our residents complete, all the residents in the US take the ABOG initial specialty qualification exam, so the qualifying exam, which moves you on towards board certification. And I am happy to say that this is our first graduating class of residents. So Drs. Moore, Dr. Tuck, Dr. Liguori, and Dr. Zhukova had 100% board pass rate. That was in 2020. And then as of this year, our graduating chiefs, Drs. Carmen and Sanger, also just received notice that they just passed their boards as well. So I think it's evident from that we're on the right track and doing the right thing. And I just reached out to both of them today to congratulate them, and they're so excited in their new jobs as well. So with that, I'm going to introduce you to our residents, because yes, while we have attendings, really who you will be working with for the next 4 years. So this group won't be here, but they have a lot of experience, and they're our chiefs, so they can tell you kind of the lay of the land and what goes on. So they won't be there when you matriculate in if you come to our program, but they have a lot of insight because they've been here the longest. So we have Dr. Amy Howard, who's from Mercer, Dr. Katie Huffstetler from MCG, Dr. Ansley Stone from Mercer, and Dr. Alsha Strain from Morehouse. And I have a little bit about each one. So I'm not going to go through all of this, but Amy's from Iowa originally. She's married and has 2 little boys. And she is just kind of the mom of the group. She's a great resident, very laid back, and really kind of keeping everybody together. This is Dr. Katie Huffstetler. She's from Chattanooga originally and MCG. She is married, and apparently she has 2 cats. But Katie is, I would call Katie very inquisitive. She always has questions that I would never even think of, and she is just a plethora. She has a plethora of information that a lot of people don't know, but she is, she just interviewed for maternal fetal medicine fellowship, and hopefully she will be, fingers crossed, she will be matching very soon. I have no doubt. I'm pretty certain she'll match, and I'm just glad that I've been able to help her with that, but plans for that. This is Ansley Stone. She's from Lawrenceville, Georgia, and Mercer, and she's got 2 dogs that we all know very well. But Ansley too, very inquisitive, always dependable, and one of our administrative chief residents. And Ansley also just applied for maternal fetal medicine fellowship. And I too am very confident that the both of them will match. She's fantastic as well. And then we have Alsha Strain, originally from Berkeley, California, and she went to Morehouse. And Alsha is the glue that holds all things together. So she's everybody's advocate. She's always advocating for the interns and the lower levels and making sure everybody gets what they want. She's another one of the administrative chief residents. Dr. Huffstetler are actually our academic chief residents. So this year we also have 2 academic chiefs who handle kind of the didactic portion that the residents are responsible for in our didactics, and making sure they go through the articles and journal clubs and things like that they have to present. And so with that, I have a few questions for them. I know I saw Alsha on. I don't know who else of the chiefs is on. I know Ansley and Amy have had family emergencies, so Katie may be on here if she's not on call. Katie's on night, so she may not be on, but Alsha's here. So Alsha, if you don't mind coming off your mic and answering these questions for me. So do you feel like you guys get a lot of experience with complex GYN surgery?
Absolutely. Can you guys hear me?
Yes. can we
Okay.
see?
We primarily get our GYN robots with gyn-onc and with our urogynecologist. So as you know, those aren't generalist cases, they're specialist cases. And so we'll do the hysterectomy portion and then assist with the remaining parts of the case. Gyn-onc is extremely complex because these patients obviously have cancer, but some have had radiation and their anatomy is much different. So we learn normal anatomy with our patients, and then we'll learn complex anatomy with our gyn-oncs.
And with that, so when you do the surgeries, like she says, when you're talking about a lot of the robots that you do, when you go in there, are you doing the robotic hysterectomy? Are you sitting at the console and performing them as console surgeon?
Yes, you walk in the room and you get the patient ready, and then the gyn-onc looks at the anatomy. You put all the ports in, gyn-onc looks at the anatomy and says, go. And then you sit down and you go. And it's a little intimidating at first, but they always say, like, if something gets messed up, I'll just fix it. And it's cool because nothing really gets messed up. You have this sense of like confidence instilled in you that, okay, I'm just gonna go. And you do the whole case. And if you get uncomfortable or you start to hesitate, they can pick up on that and they'll be like, all right, let me show you. I don't think you're grabbing that angle right. Let me take that, and then they'll hold it for you and then you'll get back on. So you do the entire case.
And as I said before, that is invaluable because I came from a program before that has 12 residents per year, 48 residents, and it is basically competition. The good thing is that you start doing a surgery with these attendings as a third year. So even our third years are getting to surgeon these cases, and that's like unheard of at a really big program. The chief residents are really fighting for those cases, and so you don't get that opportunity. And at some programs, they even have fellows that you're competing with to do the surgery. So that's a plus with this program. You get to work directly with these attendings, being the surgeon on these cases, starting in your third year. So I think that's a big plus that a lot of people can't say that they get at their program. And so I think that's probably a lot of the same answer for this question. Do you feel like you're well prepared surgically? For
quick admin. I was told by some of the privates that we work with, just kind of in casual conversation, that our graduating fourth year class has practiced independently, and they thought that, oh, coming from our program, they might have to babysit them more. They said they just went and started doing hysterectomies on the robot, and I was, oh, okay, you don't need me. So I was really excited to hear that they're doing great and they're super independent and they really didn't need much. Like, the people were in the room to monitor them, but they were doing fine all by themselves.
Yeah, and again, that's a nod to this program, because as I said before, you make the mistake of thinking that just because a program is at a large academic center that, oh, they must be better, well-trained surgeons or something. Not necessarily true. Because of the fact that when you have more residents, when you have more fellows and trainees around, you are in competition for those cases. We have the luxury of not having that competition. You are getting in on these cases very early in your career and in your training. So you get to start off, and you get to do these surgeries with complex GYN surgeons like GYN oncologists, like urogynecologists, who you can get that experience very early, and getting in with them who do these complex surgeries all the time really helps you to hone your skills. So that's something that I think is invaluable. So we also have like FLS simulation. So we have FLS simulation. This is in our clinic. We have this. We also have a simulation center where you can go and use these. So all of our residents do this to practice for your straight stick traditional laparoscopy. But we also do a ton of laparoscopic surgery. So we have a lot of ectopics. We have a lot of straight stick surgery that we have here. So trust that you'll be well trained in that. We also have simulation for hysteroscopy and our laparoscopic things in the sim lab. So I think Alsha just kind of jumped in and answered this question. Do you think the program will fully prepare you for independent OB and GYN practice? I tell a lot of people before that OB is probably where we have, it's a little bit slower pace than our GYN, but that being said, what really makes you able to handle independent practice is GYN surgery. If you are a good GYN surgeon, you will be able to handle any cesarean hysterectomy that comes your way, any complex case that you have, as far as being able to get out of a difficult surgery or a difficult case, that's really what helps you manage as an OBGYN out in general practice. So OB, the clinical training will come, but the surgical skills as a GYN surgeon really prepare you for independent practice. All right, let me move on because I got to stay on time here. So these are our third years. So these would potentially be your chief residents. And so they are Dr. Priya Desai from Mercer, Dr. Patrick McCarthy from Campbell University, Dr. Lindsay Threlkeld from MCG, and then Dr. Anna Maria Uceda from Mercer. So a little bit about each of them, and there's Anna Maria. So Dr. Desai is originally from Chattanooga. She went to St. Louis University, and fun fact about her sister, a year below her, and she is doing Texas. She's a resident as well. This is Dr. McCarthy. He is our Lone Ranger right now. So we just graduated our other male resident that we had. We've had 3 in the past, but he's now the Lone Ranger. So he's looking for potentially another guy to join him here during his last year. He's married, and his wife works in urgent care with Wellstar as well. And he's from North Carolina originally. Dr. Threlkeld, she is from Valdosta, Georgia, and went to undergrad at Georgia Tech. She's married and has lots of dogs. And then Anna Maria is originally from Peru, but went to Georgia Tech and then Mercer, and she's married and has a new little, I guess he's not a baby anymore. Oso's kind of big now, but her dog there. Hey, so we have a couple of questions for the third years, and so that was Anna Maria that just chimed in. I don't know who else from her class is here, but I want you guys to tell them, what is the high risk OB experience like? Anna Maria or Priya, or I don't see, or if she can't, if Anna Maria cannot, then somebody else can. I think Dr. Jones is on, Dr. Hagens. Any of you guys can come off mute and tell them what the high risk OB experience is like.
Yeah, I mean, I will be the first to say that, oh, hello.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think, I feel like we have a lot of good high risk patients. I've been really happy with the high risk experience we get here. We've had a lot of multidisciplinary meetings for different patients we have that have multiple comorbidities. So it's kind of cool to get to be a part of that and then be a part of their time of their delivery. And we work, you know, with the MFM doctors. They are nice. We work closely with them. So I think pretty well-rounded.
So one good thing that I will say is that we still get, just by nature of where we are, we're a referral center for a lot of the rural hospitals around. So we get pretty sick, complex patients here, just like they do at anywhere else, at Emory, at Morehouse, at MCG, at those places. The only thing I would say is we don't have fetal surgery. So if the baby is going to need surgery immediately after delivery, then those moms get shipped to usually Emory and Grady for that reason. But other than that, our nursery takes 23, and beyond. So we don't ship our patients out because of their gestational age. Our nursery can handle all of them. We get really, really sick patients. So we've recently had a lot of COVID patients with COVID pneumonia on the vent, some of them on ECMO. We've had patients with complex cardiac conditions that get delivered here. A couple of patients that required neurosurgery, but a lot of complex cases. What I would say is different is probably just the pace and the number of them that we keep on service. So it's a more, to me, manageable load of patients that you have here, but the acuity of the patients is probably synonymous with any other place that you can go. Other than, like I said, the patients who the babies need surgery immediately, and probably we don't have the pregnant trauma patients that you get at another center, but again, that in and of itself is not really maternal fetal medicine. That's more just acute OBGYN. So moving on to the next question. Are there any recent changes to the program that you think are making great improvements or that have brought great improvements to the program itself? And anybody can answer this. Have there been any recent changes? Probably second years and above can probably answer this better.
The addition of working with the KenOB midwives, that's been a great experience. They have been really great teachers to us, and they really enjoyed working with us and kind of teaching us techniques about fetal heart strips and managing the patient in stage of labor. And it's helped significantly with our numbers as well. So that's been a really great change in the last year.
Good. I think, well, I'll get to some other things in a second, so I'll keep moving through. So this was our resident reception for graduation. This year we had a roast, which was phenomenal. Dr. Howard did an awesome job, and Dr. Stone and Strain did as well. It was hilarious. It was great. It's always a fun time. These are just some of the simulation sessions that we've had. We just had an operative vaginal delivery simulation. We also have sessions with the simulation, what we try to do is include simulations where one class teaches the next class. So you basically learn the skill, you know, whatever year you're in. If your first year, you learn the skill, and then the next year you will teach that skill to the class behind you. And so we're really trying to ingrain in the residents that you continue to be teachers, just like your learners, you continue to be teachers. And the more you can teach something, I'm really a proponent that the more, when you can teach something, then you've really learned it. So we really try to encourage that our upper levels teach our lower levels and just continue that throughout their training. So that's something that we really encourage. So again, these are those simulation sessions you see up here on the right. We were doing hysterectomy simulations, and we have your chiefs, and the chiefs will teach the third years how to do the abdominal hysterectomies, how to put your clamps on, how to do all those things so that they get more of an idea of how the case flows without having to be kind of in a high pressure situation where it's the actual case itself, but really getting the residents to teach each other how to do these cases. So now we have our wonderful second years. So we have Dr. Maya Hagins from Emory, we have Dr. Ashley Marie Jones from Morehouse, we have Dr. Reshma Rajesh from Avalon, and we have Dr. Arlie Salcedo-Baza from MCG. Dr. Hagins is originally from Columbia, South Carolina, and went to Howard undergrad and then Emory for med school. She is married and is a wealth of knowledge. She also has her master's, and so she has done quite a bit in the way of research. And so she is very knowledgeable in this area and getting projects and things off the ground. So I'm excited to see what her research project is gonna do. Ashley Marie is originally from Jamaica, and she did her undergraduate at Georgia State. She is married and has one little girl, Aria, and Ashley is kind of like a social butterfly as well. She is a social media queen as well, so she's always posting on social media. I need to get her to start posting again for our program since our last social media person has graduated. But she is always looking to involve the residents in doing something. She's really funny. She has an upbeat attitude and always looking to, you know, just make sure everyone has a good time. Reshma is originally from India and Houston and went to Avalon University. And she is married. Her husband is practicing in out of state. So that's something we try to keep her spirits up about. But Reshma, again, is always somebody who's dependable, always there to help out. She's always helpful, very structured with everything. So, but always somebody that you can count on to do whatever you need them to do. And then Dr. Salcedo-Baza is originally from Michoacan, Mexico, and she went to Georgia Southern University and MCG for med school. She has a husband and she has 3 children. And so she's kind of the mom in her group as well. She has a wealth of knowledge and she's kind of a jack of all trades. Arlie can pretty much do anything, and you can imagine having 3 kids and making it through med school and then being in residency. Trust me, she is a wealth of knowledge. She knows a lot of answers to questions that you would just be like, how do you know that? But really a wealth of knowledge, and again, really brings that experience to the program as well. So for you guys, would you just tell them kind of what your continuity clinic is like?
Our continuity clinic is, in my opinion, busy. I definitely love the fact that we start off with seeing patients every 30 minutes in your first and second year, and then you see patients every 15 minutes in your third and fourth year. So you like get to gradually work up to what it would be like being on your own, seeing more patients. But a lot of our patients that we see in the clinic, you get to see them in triage, you get to deliver them. I have patients who I did like their first visit back in April, and I walk in the room and they're like, Dr. Jones, oh my gosh. And it's really awesome to, build that relationship and then get to see it all the way through, both in GYN and in OB.
I will say too, just like she said, don't get me wrong, the residents probably complain about clinic the most, but I will tell them the experience they get with the amount, there's a lot of busy work just because of computers with your managing patients in the office, but it is something that they will, if they get it, master it now, they're going to be leaps and bounds ahead of their colleagues when they get out, because a lot of programs still don't kind of manage that amount of information and just a computer system the way they do. And it is something we do use Epic, that's our EHR, which I think is great because it allows you to it communicates with a lot of other systems. So we have access to a lot of different records, even if they don't come to our hospital. So that's a great thing as well. But she's right, you get to take these patients from the beginning to the end. And so you do have that continuity that's there. The good thing as well is we have our high-risk patients that are seen in our office, but then when they go over to maternal fetal medicine, they see some of the same high-risk patients over in the high-risk clinic with the maternal fetal medicine doc. So oftentimes I'll say to Dr. Salcedo, like, hey, you're seeing this lady today, isn't she going over to Eller's office next week? Can you make sure she gets this done? So there's even that continuity between seeing them there and then seeing them in the subspecialist office with maternal fetal medicine. So I think that's great. So yeah, so that's Kim in our office. So do you feel like you guys are making a difference in the lives of your patients? Any of the second years or anybody for that matter?
I think as OBGYNs, we have a unique opportunity to impact the health of our patients because for a lot of them, it's the only time that they have coverage or insurance. And so in that way, not only being able to manage them and help them to have a health and safety pregnancy and a healthy child, we can also help to manage some of the other issues that they may otherwise either not know about or not feel like they're equipped to manage outside of pregnancy, like high blood pressure, elevated sugars. And so in that way, I do think we can be uniquely helpful, and that's rewarding.
And so just like she said, we take care of patients regardless. So if you're uninsured, we'll still take care of you. If you're insured, we'll take care of you. So because of that, it affords us the opportunity to be able to take care of a wide range of patients, regardless of socioeconomic status, language barriers, and the like. We do have a language line service that we use in the office that makes it a little bit helpful. These things are something that you cannot take away from it because it allows you to be able to manage clinic a lot better. But I do really appreciate the fact that we are taking care of indigent patients because of the fact that this is where the need really is in Georgia, right? So these are the patients that we really need to try to affect their care, and the luxury of being able to take care of those patients and not have to worry about, oh, well, this isn't covered right now. We can usually get our patients on a financial assistance plan and get all the things that they need taken care of. So that is something that I think is great. But also because we have these patients that are uninsured, we also get a lot of people with advanced disease and a lot of pathology. We've had a couple of choriocarcinoma patients. We have a patient now, unfortunately, with metastatic choriocarcinoma, just kind of rare things that you don't necessarily see when you have a mainly insured population, but you have patients that present late to care. That's something that's good about this program as well. So then the last question I have for this group is what attracted you to this program?
So I did my fourth year sub-I here before applying or during application season. And OB, being a surgical subspecialty, can notoriously be a little bit more malignant. And I was very, very, very pleasantly surprised when I did my sub-I, just like how genuinely happy and excited all the residents were, not only to be at work working 80 hours a week, but also like to be around each other, to take care of patients. Like they weren't overworked. They didn't seem like they were doing this just because they had to. They like actually were genuinely interested in all of the patients. The attendings were so hands-on, were so involved, were so easy to talk to. And it was just not something that I was expecting could even be possible in an OB program. And I knew like from probably the first week of doing my sub-I that like, this is where I have to be. It's the place where I know that I'm going to be the happiest, but I'm also going to learn and be the same caliber of physician that I would be at any other program.
I second the lovely Dr. Jones in that. Coming from Emory, I definitely, of course, was concerned about level of training, whether I'd be able to do research and possibilities if I wanted to go into fellowship, like what were they and would that be available to me? But more importantly, like 4 years of my life, are these the people who are going to have my back? Is this the program that's going to train me to be the best physician that I can be? And work-life balance. Knowing that I was going to be newly married going into residency, I wanted to see my husband. So he would remain my husband, and I have. So I'm grateful to still be here.
Cool. Well, I'm going to move on to our lovely interns. So, and I think we're making good time here. So, and we'll have a bunch of time for questions in just a second. So we have Dr. Ashley Isobor from Howard. We have Dr. Casey Shep-Riley from MCG. We have Dr. Haley Vale from Mercer. And we have Dr. Annie Zhu from University of South Alabama. And a little bit about Dr. Isobor. She's originally from New York and Georgia State, but she's lived in this area and her mom lives nearby. And Dr. Shep-Riley, I guess we didn't get all the information from them everywhere, but she's undergrad at Auburn and then MCG, and she just got married a little while ago to her high school sweetheart, which that never happens anymore, does it? But yeah, and she's got a dog. There's a typo there, forgive me. And then Haley Vale, who is from Atlanta, Georgia, and UGA and Mercer. She has a black cat and also a boyfriend here. And I didn't know she likes to build tiny furniture, but she has like a lot of plants and stuff too. So Haley is a burst of energy that's always around as well. And then what can I not say about Annie, Dr. Zhu? She's from Emory and University of South Alabama. So Annie is, again, she's on ICU this month, so I don't think she's here today because she's working so many shifts. But Annie is just fun all around. She is a ball of fire all the time. But again, always prepared, always willing to work. So again, so glad to have this energetic intern class. So for you guys, what has the program done to help you kind of make a smooth transition into residency? And I know I saw Casey and Haley and Ashley,
So, I mean, like everyone around you is always ready to help, like the uppers and the second years, especially, certainly like they were just there. So everyone is always checking in on you, not just at work, but like, are you moved in? Do you need help? Have you found this? Do you need a doctor in the area? Have you found a vet? Like all those things. So yeah, I think just the support of the people around us has been one of the biggest things.
one of the other things too, we do like a little boot camp. So, when you start, a lot of programs do that as well, but we have a boot camp to just kind of orient you to different procedures and instruments and kind of like ins and outs of triage and kind of what kind of things to look for in clinic. So we try to do that to kind of ease your transition into residency so everything doesn't seem so brand new. So hopefully that's a help as well. So then next, one of you guys can answer that have been on. So this is some of the boot camps that we have. So the next question is, what's the family planning experience like? Anybody that's done family planning already as interns? Are anyone on that's done it? Has Casey done it yet? Or Haley, have you?
I think Casey goes to it next. I've done it. Family planning has been It was really great. So I did it last month, and 2 days a week you go to the Feminist Women's Clinic in Atlanta, and you work with the super wonderful Dr. Malloy, who has been around forever, knows everything, and really lets you kind of jump right in. Certainly, like, he's always there to answer questions if you feel uncertain, and like the rest of the staff at the Feminist Clinic is great. But everyone's really supportive and open, and it's also a really great opportunity to practice procedures, because they do on Fridays it's all surgery, so you get experience doing like suction aspirations, and it's fantastic. Like, it's the most like, you will do a lot of procedures in a day back to back, and you will get really, really good at it, and Dr. Malloy knows all the tricks. And it was wonderful. I loved it.
Yes. Also on, oh.
No, perfect. Go ahead.
Yes, this is Ashley. I'm one of the interns. I'm also on it right now. Dr. Beloy is great. Like Haley said, he's been doing this for many, many years. He's very experienced, and he also allows you to do just as much as you're comfortable with. You do get a lot of experience. You get to see a lot of patients on Thursdays and Fridays. So yeah, it's been a good experience so far.
So interns, then what attracted you guys to this program? Because you're the closest to the students that are here, right? So what attracted you to this place and made you, want to rank us as highly as you did?
So for me, it was really important to have like faculty and co-residents that I could talk to. I just found that on my interviews, like the faculty that I interviewed with spoke with me, and like Dr. Bird and I, at the time in medical school, I was doing research on period poverty, and like you got really into it, and like Dr. Taylor got really into it, and we were all really excited about this project. And I brought the ideas that you guys gave me back to like my research team in Macon, and they were really excited about it. So just having like people that were getting excited about what I was getting excited about was really what brought this program to the top of my list.
And is Casey still on here? I don't want to leave anybody out.
Casey's on call, so she might have had to, yeah.
They probably had to leave. Okay.
Yeah, it looks like they stepped away. There's 2 questions in the chat, Dr. Bird, that we don't know how to answer.
Go right ahead.
The first question was, is there a preference for the new, I think, standardized letters of evaluation versus traditional letters of rec? And the second was, is there a step score cutoff, and whether that transfers to COMLEX also?
So the whole letters thing is a little bit new to all of us. I will say we look at them, I generally look at them for any red flags, but I don't know that the structure, the standardized ones, they'll probably be a little bit more helpful, but I don't think that that's where I would hang my hat. I would recommend that you get letters from your department head, so your department chair preferably. And then also it's always good to get a letter from the surgery chair, because of the fact that this is a surgical subspecialty. So it is kind of looked at a little bit odd if you come and you have only letters from, say, like internal medicine and pediatrics. We do expect you to do well in your surgical subspecialty, in your surgical specialties. And as far as scores, there's no set minimum, but I would say initially I tend to look at people with a baseline score of 200 and above on your steps, just as a starting point. We of course often we take people and look at people that have not, but traditionally if you have not scored there or you failed, a lot of times that's where it's probably helpful for you to have done a rotation with us, or usually some communication with another, if I have a program director that's there that reaches out, sometimes that can vouch for you, but it's only because we have to start somewhere, otherwise we'd have nothing to be able to sift through. And so that's kind of where I aim at starting. But it's getting more and more competitive. I know with the pass fail going to on things that is going to make things a little bit more difficult from that respect. But definitely, I would say, you know, really try to aim as high as you can for your step exams. And if you are, and this goes for applying to any program, if you have failed any of your steps, I would advise that any place that you potentially want to rank highly, you need to go there. If you can get an away rotation, a 4th year rotation there, then you should take it and treat that kind of as an audition. We have very routinely taken residents that, and that's at any program. I mean, that's the whole point, right? When I was at my other program, we have every year we've taken somebody that has rotated with us as a 4th year med student. So because we know how they performed when they're there, just like Ashley told you, she rotated here with us, and yes, that's how she got her rotation. I mean, that's how she got in here. She really impressed when she was here, and so that speaks volumes of you when you're here on the interview circuit. So I would encourage you that if you have struggled with any of your exams, that you kind of look at your 4th year electives to take time to do those at the programs that you potentially really, really want to go to. So I am going to stop sharing my screen so all you guys can come off of and turn on your cameras. And
We have 2 more questions.
go ahead.
Do we accept Comlex only? And can we talk about the breast rotation? I think I'm the only one who knows about the breast rotation. Oh no, Priya did. So Priya will talk about that.
So, I mean, we accept Comlex scores as well. Because I have to be familiar with them, we are. So a lot of the other faculty may not be, but when we're initially going through your application, so we still look at Comlex scores competitively. So again, make sure that I can't tell you offhand because I have to look at it every time to know what the scores are that are competitive. But we do still take people who just take the Comlex. It's helpful if you've also taken STEP. I know that can be much more expensive if you have not. But I mean, I'm just being honest. My residents will tell you if I'm not anything, I'm honest. And in order to make yourself more marketable to more programs, if you take your steps and do well, it makes it easier. It's just a little bit harder for us to translate scores because we're not used to using those all the time and seeing those as a benchmark. And so while we do interview candidates from osteopathic schools, we're just not as familiar with them. So a lot of times people will have some apprehension. So I would encourage you that if you can afford to take your steps, to take it, because if you score really well, it may help you. So I hope that helps. And then the breast rotation. So the residents can probably tell you about the breast rotation, Alsha or Priya.
Yeah, I will. So the breast rotation's about 4 weeks. Oh, sorry. Is about 4 weeks, and you do it on Mondays and Tuesdays of that month, and you do it with family planning. You work with Dr. Goodwin. She's a breast specialist and a breast surgeon, and you get to go to her surgeries if she has any, and then also go to her clinic. So you learn a lot in her clinic. That she definitely does is stereotactic biopsies, as well as like fine needle aspiration and just punch biopsies. And I feel like that was a good time for me to learn just about like common breast complaints and that we could see in our clinic as well. And then she goes over a lot of mammogram imaging, 3D mammograms, and breast ultrasound pictures with you as well.
All right, so I'll open up the chat. We have about 7 minutes left.
Dr. Bird.
Uh-huh.
Hi, my name is Sabri Zuper. I'm in Fort Worth, Texas. I'm a 4th year DO student. I was wondering, I guess with 4th year already kind of being in the works and it being a little bit, the timeline is kind of shrinking for audition rotations. Is Wellstar still open to taking in new applicants through VSAS for an audition rotation?
Yes, so I don't think that all of ours are filled up. So you can reach out to Ms. Marcus to find out about that. Her information should be listed on our website. It's probably listed on this platform too, to reach out to her. But I think we do still have a few months that may be open. Like we have a student that's from PCOM that's here now, but we have, I think, most of the months filled, but I don't know offhand because I don't directly handle that. But if you reach out to Ms. Marcus, she can probably tell you. But I'm pretty sure we haven't filled every month, just because with COVID, people have done it a lot less, you know, so.
Is there any way that you can provide her information on the chat? Because I looked online and it's not available. Thank you. Somebody just provided it.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Perfect.
There was a question about whether the program accepts international medical graduates or postgrads.
So we do. I will tell you, you really need to make sure that your STEP scores are, you know, really where they should be, at least at the bare minimum. But also, I always have to look. You have to look on our site to tell you what kind of visas we accept if you are, and what the requirements are. But we do interview and accept people from that are foreign medical grads. So yes, you just need to look at the requirements to see what they are. And like I said, you know, competitive candidates were definitely willing to. It's important to see, you know, kind of what you're doing at the time. And so that's always helpful. And if you've had some experience here, to get letters from people that you have here is always helpful as well.
I have a question.
Yes.
Hello, can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm Ashley Harris. I'm from Lithonia, Georgia. I'm actually a third-year family practice resident in Columbus at Piedmont Midtown. Looking to be an OB hospitalist and coming back to Atlanta, Georgia to practice. Sorry if I'm asking you a question that's already been answered, but I wanted to know if you all are involved in any community activities, advocacy for your patients, as well as describing the family planning rotation.
So the main advocacy I would say that we have right now that the residents participate in is a legislative day. We have not had any, you know, with COVID, it kind of put probably a halt to a lot of the community programs that we were participating in as a GME program, you know, all the GME programs in the area and at Wellstar. So we have not, you know, we're supposed to all have a volunteer kind of month that our residents participate in things. And while we have not re-upped on that recently, we probably will kind of venture back out into that over this next year. But it's not that, it's just that it hasn't been organized in the past and this is just a new program. So, you know, so we're always open to that and we're looking to do more in the community. But again, with COVID, things kind of all got pushed back. We do have a relationship that we have just forged with the Department of Health. So the Department of Health here in Cobb County. And so we're working, hopefully very soon, our residents will go to the Department of Health with Dr. Estrella, our APD, and see patients there, and then get those patients funneled in through us. So while that's not technically volunteer, it is kind of an outreach type of relationship. And so very similar to that in that it's kind of an outreach program. So, and then as they did talk about the family planning rotation before. So if you want to hear a little bit more about that, you can watch the recording. But in general, our residents rotate with Feminist, which is a family planning center here in Atlanta, and they work with Dr. Malloy and do tons of procedures and LARCs and suction procedures. And but you're allowed to do as little or as much as you're comfortable with. But the residents do get to do a lot of procedures when they're there, and they really enjoy the month from what I have heard from them. So
thank you.
Yeah, again, so I think other people are asking about opportunities to work with midwives and doulas. So we really don't have a number of doulas that come, but we do have midwives that are with the program. So you have those opportunities with midwives from both of the groups that Northwest and Ken OB. So the residents do work with them directly and kind of learn to have a harmonious relationship with the midwives, which I think is important to kind of learn how to, when you learn from them and then when you end up graduating, if you're in a practice that has midwives, you'll understand the relationship and be able to back them up more easily because you've been in that situation and worked with them and built that trust and rapport. So I think that's important. So I believe we're down to 1 minute. So I don't want to hold you guys up from going on to other programs. I thank you guys for staying here to listen to us. I thank all my residents for showing up, but Wellstar Kennestone is a great program. It's got a community, atmosphere, but really the residents are outstanding. You will be well-trained in GYN surgery and OB, and really looking to find people that ideally would like to practice in Georgia, but just looking to be well-trained OBGYNs in general. So I think our residents are happy. Nothing is 100%, but I think we're as close as you can get. And so I'm really glad to be here. I think our great, and I think, where nothing is perfect, I think we're trying every day, and we have a great group of residents and faculty who are willing to try and make changes, and just understand that with those changes, they're still going to be well-trained no matter what we do with the residents. And so I'm just glad that we have this program. And I think this program has been a huge benefit to the state of Georgia, period. But just because we're putting out residents that are excellent trained physicians and surgeons. And so that's going to be a benefit to Georgia in general. With that, I will say goodbye to everyone. So this will be housed on the website, on this website and on our website. So if you guys need to come back and view it, feel free. And we look forward to seeing you this season. Take care.
Thank you.
Take care.